back to Pulled Focus. We are continuing to speak to the filmmakers involved in this year's Deep Fried Film Festival. Today we're joined live from New York by Bailey Bass and our film The Joy of 2020. Hello Bailey.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your film, please?
Yeah, so my name is Bailey. I'm a New York City-based theater director and producer. And The Joy of 2020 is a project that was created last fall. I created it with four friends who are all over the US, and we wanted to focus on the joy that was found in such a difficult year.
Fabulous. We're going to watch a wee clip from the trailer.
So the joy that I found in being a teacher this year is the building of the relationships, and that's always been something that's been really important to me as a teacher. But I didn't realize how much I was taking it for granted until I could only see the top half of my students.
That's what gives me the most joy, is knowing that I'm making a difference and that people are also going to be making a difference years from now.
What does the joy look like? It looks like brightness. It looks like open headspace, and it is extremely fulfilling and ever evolving in a very exciting way.
Great. So 2020, through the whole world on its head, we all had to face things that we hadn't faced before and make changes. Um, what was the difference for yourself in working from theatre into the film industry?
Yeah, so this was my first time really exploring film. And it's a completely different outlet. But I think what was so unusual about this project was there was no script. We had no idea what the project was going to turn into, because it was all based on what people sent us. We had 50 people send us 1 to 5 minute individual clips of them doing things that brought them joy in this past year. And then we conducted 5 interviews that lasted between 20 and 40 minutes each. And then it was all about cutting those pieces together and creating film. So it was a very different hat to put on and a different way to think.
And was it the pandemic that inspired this, or was it something that you'd thought of previously?
It was the pandemic. I mean, I had 3 other collaborators I was working with, and we're all in our 20s, and we're all theater artists, and we were at a time in our lives where everything was shut down. Our industry was completely shut down, and the 4 of us got together and said, hey, we need to find a way to be creative again. How do we find this spark again? And so we got onto Zoom, and we'd have these weekly meetings, and we got a big Google Doc together, and we would just brainstorm. I want to explore this. I want to learn about this. And these are ideas that interest me. This kind of topic is something that I'm interested in exploring. And the big thing that came up was that we were interested in exploring being in your 20s in 2020. And that idea then sparked this project, because a lot of the focus was around negative things. And someone said, hey, what about the positive things going on? And so that kind of sparked this idea of, well, what was the joy in this year, in this really hard, sad year? And then we got this project.
And what challenges did you face while carrying out the project?
So 3 out of the 4 of us are in different time zones. So we were working with 3 different time zones in the US. 2 of us are in New York, 1 of us is in California, and the other person's in Indiana. So that was a challenge in itself, of just coordinating the times, making sure we were all, knew the right time for our meetings. And then everything was virtual. Every single interview conducted, every single, editing session. I mean, I was the director, and the person who was editing was in California. So we had a 3-hour time difference and hours of discussing the editing process just on Zoom. So I would say those were the two biggest challenges.
And how did you promote the project so that you could get people to send in the films?
We reached out to family and friends, and then we went to like Facebook and Instagram and said, hey, we're doing this thing. If you're interested, shoot us a message and we'll tell you more about it. And, you know, it was so fun to kind of see who we got. It was important to me that we were getting people of different age ranges and different, I didn't want just artists doing this. I wanted, everyday people. I got a bunch of my parents' friends, just people from all ages, all different like walks of life.
And are there any other filmmakers that inspired the work?
I would say that the life events going on around us was really what inspired the work. I think I definitely have, my fair share of artists that have inspired me as an artist. I have a really good family friend who's a film director. Her name's Julie Ackred. I've had quite a few discussions with her. Her work really inspires me, and her passion for her work and opening up the truth within the story she tells is something that's very inspiring. Theater directors like Robert Ick and Lindsay Turner, Jamie Armitage, Michael Arden, those are directors that really inspire me as an artist.
So Deep Fried Film Festival would normally be shown to audiences in venues in real life circumstances and getting feedback on the day on the films that they've seen. So we've had to make changes because we didn't know what COVID restrictions would be. But one of the things that the film kind of shows is that people have adapted and people have found a way of getting through a troubling time. Was it something that you expected to get from the footage, or did it kind of evolve naturally?
I don't really know what I exactly expected to get from the footage. I mean, I definitely didn't expect to get 50 videos back. And those interviews that were conducted, we had about 5 or 6 questions, and I had no idea how personal people were going to be willing to get and what we were going to be able to create through this. So it was really beautiful to see how open people were in those interviews. And then when it came to the joy, I had a lot of friends and family that sent in a video and are in the film. And I said to them, just show me something that during this time has either brought you joy or reignited joy. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. Like, you could just be sitting there. Like, if that brought you joy, that's fine. And I think that was what was amazing, is we get to see people like doing puzzles or baking or cooking or dancing, and those simple things, like, that's it. Like, I could go on a walk, that brings me joy. That's enough for today.
Fabulous. Well, the joy of 2020 will be shown as part of this year's Deep Fried Film Festival, and we hope that it brings joy to our viewers. Why should people watch the film?
I think right now, we need to be reminded of the joy. And I want people to watch this film and remember that, like, 2020 was a really tough year. But there were also things that we as individuals discovered about ourselves. We grew. We became stronger human beings, a stronger society. Hopefully, we're coming out of this pandemic as stronger beings and learning how to treat each other, hopefully better. And so I want people to watch this film and remember that there was joy in those days as well. Like, it wasn't just rough times.
Hey, thank you so much, Bailey. We very much look forward to watching the joy of 2020 this year. Thank you so much for joining us from New York and coping with the time differences.
Yes, I appreciate your flexibility.
Well, you can watch further interviews with the filmmakers from this year's festival throughout our YouTube channel and uploaded onto Facebook for the links as well. And the festival is available on demand from the 16th to 28th of August. We hope you can join us. This has been Pulled Focus.